Hello and welcome to the Sober Experience, formerly known as the Spiritual Experience, where we share stories of overcoming problematic situations in life through triumph and working together, as well as recovery topics and all other forms of spirituality, self-help, and the like. I'm your host, Jay Lewis, and here we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back, Sober Experience. Hope you guys had a great Father's Day. Yeah. Mine was pretty good. Let's start this episode off with a little bit more music. This is the Stooges. I love this record. It came on the other day when I was in Abracadabra, getting my costume and everything ready for the Mermaid Parade. So I was like, oh man, that's a fucking dope ass song. Yeah. So now it's like my shit. Here we go. It's a great way to start the show. Classic.
So messed up, I want you here. In my room, I want you here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can play the whole thing because fucking YouTube. You know they want you to pay for everything. Which is whatever. Anyway, today's the 17th. Now I want to be your dog. Yeah. So yeah, today's the 17th, day after Father's Day, day after my dad's birthday. Oddly enough, today is the day that, I think 6 years ago, that we had a funeral for my older sister who passed away. And, that was an emotional day, man. There was a lot of people who showed up that, when you're going through stuff, man, you don't even know who's going to show up for you. And then while the shit's going on, people are showing up and you're like, oh, my God, thank you for being here. I didn't even know you was coming, but I'm glad you're here. And I think that's part of the best part of life, when you get to do that for other people without all the fanfare and without all the whatever. My mom has a very good friend. Her name is Dora. And she lost like an aunt or something this past week. And I didn't know when the wake or when whatever was. I didn't know. So my mom called me when she was going there, and I would have went just because this lady's like a good friend of my mom. And the strength of being a good friend of my mom, I probably would have maybe tried to show up. I love the lady's husband. He's alive. That's my boy, Dr. David. He's the man. So, but I didn't. But anyway, so what did I do? I just gave her a call. A couple of days later, everything settles down. Give her a call, tell her I love her. I'm sorry that she lost somebody. I know what that's like. That shit's for the fucking birds, in that way, Yeah, it's sad. It's sad because I miss my sister, man. I miss having her around. It's like. It's almost like, the enemy, right? Or whatever. It's not an enemy. She wasn't an enemy. You rendered an enemy. No, she wasn't an enemy, but it's just like, it's a loss. It's a separation. And that's how those things go. Anyway, so what I figured I'd do today was read one of these like daily reflections and maybe yap about it for a couple of minutes and then moveon.org. Maybe try and hit a meeting on the way home. Daily reflections of read. Oh, by the way, also on this day in 1997, CNN, a.k.a. Capone and Noriega, dropped the war report, which was incredible. It was incredible then, and it was incredible in hindsight. Live on, live strong. I think that was that was one of the records I loved. That, of course, and Blood Money. New York, get the blood money, dirty cash. Anyway, to go from the street to the spiritual, here we go. Daily recovery readings, daily reflections, June 17th. Deep down within us. We found the great reality deep down within us in the last analysis. It is only there that he may be found. Search diligently within yourself. With this attitude, you cannot fail. The consciousness of your belief is sure to come to you. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 55. All right. It was out of the depths of loneliness, depression, and despair that I sought the help of AA. We can start right there. The loneliness, depression, and despair. You know, you don't have to be an alcoholic to be living like that. Yeah, and you don't need to be by yourself to be lonely. You know, I come across people all the time who are just going through, they're just going through it, enduring, just trudging along by themselves, or they, by themselves, meaning like in their mind, in their spirit, in their soul, or whatever. They haven't found that connection, I had an experience like that the other day. I was going to pick up a rug from this lady, right? And whatever. I get upstairs and she got moving boxes, all kind of stuff going on. I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, this rug, pa-pa-pa-pa-tee, pa-pa. It's like, all right, I take it. It's whatever, regular, Benny Orain Moroccan rug that's nicely soiled. And she's blaming it on the husband, whatever. Neglect is neglect. It don't matter for me. I understand and I identify with that. So I see like the moving boxes everywhere. And I was like, what's going on? She's like, yeah, I'm trying to get rid of the stuff out of this room. So I go over there and I look because like, my boy Liam is on like a treasure hunt to furnish his house from the motherfucking Goodwill, right? That he bought out there at the end of the world in Riverhead, Long Island. So I go and I'm looking, I'm like, he ain't gonna need no bunk beds, whatever. She was like, yeah, it's my stepdaughter's room. I was like, oh, that's cool. Where's she at? And the lady looked right at me and she goes, she's in rehab. Oddly enough, she's in rehab. I was like, oh shit, And I was just like, okay. I was like, good for her. She's like, yeah, but this is not her first time. I said, maybe. And then I was like, look, maybe it could be her last. We don't know, And then I told her, I don't mind breaking my anonymity to anybody or for anybody, but I did. I said, listen, I'm fucking almost 21 years sober, so she could change her life. She can't change it in the street. Or it's very hard to start there, but if you are in that place, what did they say? The depths of loneliness, depression, and despair, then maybe you'd be willing to take a little bit of advice. And that's a deal. Like how far down do you have to go in some area of your life? It doesn't have to be, again, it doesn't have to be alcohol and drug related. Like the area that that's causing you, I'm not going to say it's causing unhappiness because I don't know, but it's very likely that it's standing in the way of your happiness. And you don't need somebody to tell you what it is, because if you dig inside of you, you know what it is. The hard part is being able to face it. And for us people in recovery, we cannot face it alone. You know, it says in How It Works, without help, it is too much for us. That's all you need to know. It's too much for anybody. So this lady, she's like, you know, I'm opening up a little bit. She's opening up a little bit. It's very cool. Yeah. And, you know, I just go through the thing with her, and she don't have anybody. So she's just there. And it's her stepkid, which I 100% identify with, because I also have stepkids. And it's funny because I happened to be the theme that week, because the same, like the day before, I was over at 12th Street Workshop, and this lady who was sharing from the podium was talking about her stepson. This motherfucker's in his 30s, and he is not self-supporting through his own contributions. And she is having, like, she's going through changes over it. You know, and I was like, oh my God, I identify. You know, if one of my kids stayed in the crib till 30, not doing shit, dude. You know, and it's a step kid, because that's the difference. If it's your own kid, you can throw your own kid out on the street. You know, but a step kid, you can't, man. You just got to take those lashes. It's like, how do you manipulate them in a way that's beneficial to them? Because they're unwilling to just take, you know, the information, you know, written on a letter, put through a mail slot so they can fucking read, because they don't want to take any direction from an adult, much less somebody who is not technically their parent. And if they were their parent, I don't even know if it would make any difference. And that's the thing. So this lady's like, you know, she's talking about her kid, the step kid that's in rehab. And I was telling her, I was like, she's like, yeah, like the other family, she went to go stay. The kid wore out the welcome in New York, I guess, and went to go stay with some family members in wherever they were at. And then the family members who were talking shit to the lady and her husband about, like, oh, you know, why you keep sending her to treatment? I think she's okay. She doesn't have a problem. The lady's like, all right, then she'll come stay with you. And within a few months, the fucking girl's in the fucking, you know, in the padded room. And this lady's like, yo, I fucking told you. Meanwhile, you're over here judging me from the cheap seats when I'm in the motherfucking octagon, you know, battling with this girl. And it's tough. And we were talking about the drug game and all that other. I'm like, dude, you know, she could be taking drugs in the street. She can get some fentanyl. She can lose her consciousness and wake up to some very bad things happening, which, dude, I've yet to meet a woman, sober or not, in my adult life. Adult meaning, like, I don't know, maybe it started becoming more prevalent my late 20s when I was like dating. I say 25, 27. Every girl that I met or that I knew had been sexually assaulted in one way or another. Whether it was the full-blown, you know, R word, or if it's just unwanted touching or grabbing or whatever, or like, yeah. So, you know, there are creeps who look for young girls to do that to, you know, and all this. So I'm saying that to the lady to say none of that's happening right now. So we need to be grateful because she's in a place where she's getting help. And the lady's like, I think she might be willing now because she's 19 years old. And so she could sign herself out, and she hasn't yet. It's like, oh, maybe the message is coming, you know? And then I just gave her my own experience that I learned, especially when it comes to raising kids, which is like, you know, my job is not, you know, I always say my job is not to tell them who to be, it's to tell them how to be. That's number one. And number two is just to prepare myself for when they're ready to make some changes in their life, that I could be available to them without any outward judgment. Even though inside I'm gonna be like, motherfucker, I fucking told you 2 years ago. Well, but like, of course you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna think that, but I'm not gonna behave that way, and I'm definitely not gonna say that to them. You know, except the only thing I can say is like, okay, how many things have you been wrong about in your whole life? completely wrong about that you just learned as you got older. And they'll say a lot. They'll say, okay, so what do you think? You're right about everything now? Is that what you're saying? That you're magically right about everything now? I put this on the computer the other day. I said, there are people in your life who are giving you the plays right now as we speak, and you are ignoring them. Yeah. Yeah, so it was nice to have that interaction with that lady. I gave her some hope. I almost wanted to give her a hug on the way out, but I didn't want to get too crazy. Maybe on the way, when I come back, I drop the rug. I see how she's doing. I texted her because she was saying her husband has gone to meetings in the past, but doesn't go now and doesn't really drink or whatever. And I was like, dude, he can come. I said, give him my number. He can call me, text me whenever he wants. He can come to a meeting. There's even meetings for sober dads, which is not an easy job to have, as being a sober dad. All right, let me keep reading. I sought the help of AA and recovered. As I recovered and began to face the emptiness and ruin of my life, I began to open myself to the possibility of healing that recovery offers through the AA program. That's true. Nobody's coming in here on like a winning streak. I was winning in areas that I thought I was winning, but in reality, I was just like almost like the losses were piling up. And it says, by going to meetings, staying sober, taking the steps, very important. I had the opportunity to listen with increasing attentiveness to the depths of my soul. The opportunity to listen only really, and this is me talking now, the opportunity to listen only really, makes itself present the more open you are to suggestion. And is it possible that you don't have all the information? And it has to be okay with you that you don't know everything. It has to be okay with you. I'm happy I don't know everything. I'm very stupid. That's why I'm very happy. I believe I have some form of intelligence in a lot of other ways. But I'm also very, I've seen plenty of people, the cliche. I've seen plenty of people too smart to get sober and too smart to be happy. Dog, you got to be happy, man. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. So I'm going to keep going. Daily, I waited, which means it doesn't happen right away, in hope and gratitude for that sure belief and steadfast love I had longed for in my life. Yeah, that love that says not everything is going to be okay, but everything is already okay. It's already okay. I met my God as I understood him, my higher power, my God. The most rebellious thing you can do on this earth is have your own God. For people who don't like God. So you can literally have your own. You can make your own. You can do whatever you want. That's how, how crazy is that? And I also believe that people have this innate belief in God, that it's in there, It doesn't matter what it is, but it's in there. And I think that's because, I think it's because it's like, dude, especially for people like us, if you have had very tough times in your life where life has been whipping you or you have been whipping yourself, there has to be, I believe, at one point where you prayed to something, like instinctively, that you're like, oh God, please help me, not in some dramatic way, but even that kind of passing thought leads me to believe that you believe, and when somebody's really honest with themselves, I've yet to encounter somebody who has not had those thoughts and those feelings. Imagine when you're like a kid and you drink too much for the first time or whatever, dear God, and you're like puking on the toilet, the God of the toilet bowl, right? Dear God, please, if you just let this stop, I promise I'll never do it again. Who are you making these promises to? Who are you asking to make it stop? You know? But then as soon as it stops, you're like, yeah, no, I got it, Bo. I'm good. Don't worry. You go back to the kids in Africa. I'm going to handle fucking Bensonhurst. You know? Yeah, it's like a very, we can't make pretend that that doesn't happen. You know, but, you know, I found a loving God in my life. I don't even know if he was always there. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. It don't matter. Fucker is here now. He is. He's here. He's great. He challenges me in all these different ways. He challenges me by putting challenging people in my path. And he's like, all right, let's see what you're going to do. Am I your boy when shit is going right or when shit is going wrong? Like, am I your boy then? Yeah, of course. But what about regular schmegular stuff? You know, where you have to be brave. You know, you have to be brave. You got to have these conversations with yourself and shit, man. I got to face this thing, whatever it is. You know, I have to face it. It sucks. But then it's never as bad as I think. Or if it is as bad as I think, at least I'm facing it and it's going to be over soon. You know? And that was like a theme in this other speaker that I heard, where he says, like, you know, there comes a time in your life where not only is there a fork in the road, but, you know, yeah, there's a fire chasing you to the fork in the road. And the fire is you, that voice that's inside you to say, listen, man, you've been avoiding this decision for so long, knowing with your intuition that this is a fire that has been burning for way too long. You know, not just at your expense, but at the other person's expense or whatever. So this guy was talking about that, you know, to make a decision where you either have a painful ending or endless pain. Right? And I felt that. Gatorade Zero, Apple Burst. Pretty good. It's the green shit. I thought it was like old school Ecto Cooler that my parents would never buy, you know. They were like haters. In my mind, I'm like, bro, they never wanted me to be happy. I just wanted Ecto Cooler, a Megatron fucking toy. And, yeah, maybe just those two, I would have been okay. You know, meanwhile, I didn't get any of that stuff. But I'm sure it was way poisoned. Mind you, my family still puts 10 pounds of adobo on everything, including myself. I do the same thing. I put adobo even on friggin' hot dogs on the grill. People are like, oh, dude, you make them so good. I'm like, yeah. There's a lot of poison in there. So, a painful ending versus endless pain. And sometimes we just get used to that. Get used to just living in that cycle. In recovery, they call it the vicious cycle. It's like a... Dude, that's like, you know, how can you put two worse words together to make a point? Vicious, which is what it is. It's fucking vicious. And it's a cycle, which means it's not going to stop. It's going round and around, and it's vicious. Jesus. You know? And it starts and ends with me. That's the thing. If it's a cycle, it starts and ends with me. And I can't do it all on my own. I'd rather not do any of it on my own. That's the problem. But a lot of it I have to do by myself, but not on my own. I have all of you. I have a community of people. I have established and built a relationship with my God for a long time, and it keeps getting stronger and stronger. So when you guys are not around, I'm okay. And I can handle the humility necessary in order to live life effectively, which means that I don't know everything, which means that I don't have everything, which means that, I don't want everything. It's so nice to not be a slave to those wants, That's what's so nice, to not be a slave to them, My wants were just, they were strangling me, man. They were like drowning me, like waterboarding, because they were just screwed up. What I really wanted was peace. Mental and emotional peace, which I've found, and I'm sure there's other ways, can only be earned with the painful endings. The painful endings. It was painful for my sister to go, man. But I promise, I was happy it was over. I was just happy the war was over. She was too smart for her own good. Yeah, she's up there with the big guy. Listening to me. Watching me. Yeah, I still miss her. I've been driving around with her license plate on my car for 6 years, bro. Even the letters have worn off. I gotta have my daughter, if she still identifies as that, fucking paint them on. And I would love, for as long as I can, to just ride with them around. And she'll be with me. She's with me. I listen to a lot, when I want to connect with her, I put on like 80s music. She loved that stuff. And just reminded me when we were kids. My mom, I think she's with the endless pain part. Where, I don't know. I never lost a kid. So I don't know. My dad, yeah, he's a difficult person. So who knows what he's thinking. A lot of times I try to avoid those conversations with him because all he does, my dad is not willing to, there's no humility with him. He knows everything and he did everything. And it's funny. It's funny because he says stuff and I'm like, yo, bro, maybe you were somewhere else, but I was there when you were there and you didn't say that and you did not do that. You did not. So it's either he's never wrong or he like way over apologizes, as annoying as that can be to people who know that kind of behavior. But I'm at peace. I'm not really, I have to work on my peace when I'm around him. When I showed up yesterday to swim and because it was his birthday, all this other stuff. He comes to me, right? As soon as I roll up there, he comes to me and he's like, he hands me 3 bathing suits that I keep in my mom's house. So that way, if I'm just chilling and I want to go see my mom, surprise her for a swim or whatever, I don't have to fucking carry a bathing suit with me or run buy one or run. That's how that happens. So he comes to me with 3. He's like, here's your bathing suits. And I was like, well, I only need 1. What am I going to do with the other 2? I said, I leave them here for when I need them. And he got so mad. He's like, fine. And he just like threw them on a chair. I was like, bro, why don't you just put them back where you found them? He's like, I'll do it later. And he just like walks off. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? I said, where'd you get them? Downstairs. So I took them and I walked downstairs. I'm like, dude, I'm not here 5 minutes and you're, attitude is already showing up. You're not getting one. He's like a baby. Throws him in a chair in the kitchen. Just throws him on the chair. Because what? What did you want me to say? Oh, my God, I'll take all 3 back. And then when I come up here again in the middle of the day, if I have some time, there'll be nothing for me here. And I'll just have to make another stop and buy one and leave that one here. Is it what? There are 3 bathing suits. You have a 2,500 square foot house. You don't have any space, It's just strange, just impulsive instinct that has gone awry, and it doesn't really serve him. And I know because I get mad at him because I recognize some of me in him. But then I just be grateful I'm not him. But he brings it out of me, but I only try to use it on him. Because I'm like, I told him, what's wrong with you? Why would you throw them on the chair? I didn't call him a baby. I should have, That's whatever. They're going through enough. Life is enough. I don't know how you guys do it, I know my way is, I'm having the best time. Biggest complaint in my life is this stupid freaking sciatica, which is almost hopefully gone. I'm learning how to easy does it. I'm taking all the right steps. We'll see what's going to happen. I haven't been in the gym in a while. I took a few days of eating like a fucking, what are the Ginzos called? Like a gavone. I've been eating like a gavone. So I got to stop that. Even though I just had a whole small package. I don't know how much does this weigh? They put the thing in there. Net weight 12 ounces of Pink Glow pineapple. Yeah, so good. If you guys have never had it, I highly recommend it. Pink Glow pineapple. It's literally pink pineapple. It's from, apparently from Costa Rica. Vosotros. And I always get it at Wegmans. And it's mad freaking good. Yeah, it's almost like a ruby red grapefruit, had inappropriate butt relations with pineapple, with a piña. So anyway, I'm going to tap out. Hopefully that was helpful. And, like and subscribe on all podcast platforms. Share these episodes with your friends. I got to, get off my ass and get some more interviews in here. I know we were doing good for a while, and then I take a hiatus, and I come back. There's people like, oh, can I come? And I'm like, yeah, sure, fuck off. I don't get back to people all the time. I'm busy, Bo. I'm fucking busy, Bo. Anyway, I love you guys. Keep an eye out for our YouTube channel as well. And we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.